everybody, this is Anna, also known as Anna Nita on Ravelry and Annalena Nita on Instagram. My website you can find at annanita.com. This is our monthly Blanket Talk video for February. Today is Sunday, the 27th of February, so tomorrow is the last day of February. And yeah, Lent will be here very soon. Wow. This is a video series I started because it's part of our year-long make-along. Make-along means you can knit, crochet, sew, weave, or whatever else is possible to make a blanket. And to enter your blanket in the make-along, you post it on Instagram with the hashtag Anna Nida Blanketalong. I did this 5 years ago, 6 years, in 2016. I did this the first time and it was so much fun. And I thought, why not doing it again? And to keep you updated about my blanket projects and progress, I started to make these monthly videos. So I made one for January and this is the one for February. I don't only want to show you my progress, I also want to showcase you some of all of my blankets, literally, I have made in the past. So in every episode I will showcase you one of the blankets. In the last episode, oh dear, I think in the last episode I showed you this blanket and explained you how I made this. And in this episode, I will talk about this gray stripe blanket here behind me, after I have updated you about my progress. For all of you who are always asking, I will try to show you someone who is here with me today. Benny, guck mal. Hallo Benny. That is Benny. Wait. That is Benny, my dog. He's a West Highland White Terrier. He used to be my co-host. But because I have another setting here, he isn't able to lay on the sofa anymore so that you can see him. Usually he laid on that sofa, but here's no wall behind the sofa, so he doesn't do it. He's on my lap. He is good. He is fine. And he is greeting you. Okay. I want to tell you that I want to draw winners for this make-along. I will draw the first winner of this year-long make-along by the end of March. So the last day of March is the 31st. And I will draw from the feed of the hashtag Anna Nida Blanketalong on Instagram. And the prize, I can only show you a part of the prize. So it's not the exact same thing you will get. I want to give away a set of Opal minis. Okay, you will win a set of 5 Opal minis like this one. They are already on their way to me. This is Opal sock yarn, 42 meter on 10 gram. So it's 10% of a sock skein or a sock ball from Opal yarn. So that is what you can win. 5 different Opal minis. Because I think minis are a great thing to give away for such a make-along. Most of us are making scrappy blankets. And therefore I thought you always need new minis. And I really love these Opal minis. I will talk about them later when I talk about this blanket here. Okay, so be sure to enter your progress, your yarn choices, your finished objects, whatever. You don't have to finish something to win something on Instagram with the hashtag Anna Nida Blanketalong. And usually every now and then, once a week or so, I go through the hashtag and showcase your projects in my stories because it's always so inspiring. I don't know how you think about it, but it's always my most favorite part of podcasts when people show their scrappy blankets or their blankets in general. I love seeing blankets. I love making blankets, and I use blankets all the time, every day, the whole year. For example, in the early morning in the summer, it's here where I live in Thuringia, pretty cold usually. So I go outside on the balcony and I wrap my blanket around. I always use blankets and I love to make blankets. And yeah, but I don't want to repeat myself too many times during the regular podcast episodes. So I decided to make specifically episodes only filled with blanket talk, and that's why this series is called Blanket Talk. Okay, so now let's talk about blankets. I like to be organized. I love pen and pencils and planners and notebooks, and I like to schedule things. I really enjoy it. It's the way I am. And I bought this tiny cute notebook from Faber-Castell. It's my favorite brand for pencils and stationery is the word, I think, in general. So, and I just want to show you, hey, that's very handy with this loop or whatever, sling or whatever. I want to show you how I keep track of my progress because I have a goal for my blankets. I have this kind of memory blanket. And I have this kind of memory blanket. I will talk about them in a few moments. My goal is to knit every month 25 squares in this memory blanket. And with this, I don't really have a goal, but I want to work on it every weekend. So I write down, for example, I will show you for January because February was a big fail. For example, here you see, I have written down which blanket it is, the month, the days of the month, so yeah. And then I made a stroke. German word of the day. You know, you told me in the past that you like it so much when I do the German word of the day, and I tend to forget that. When you do this, for every square you make a stroke. We call this Strichliste. So we count the strokes in a list. Strich, stroke, Liste, list. Strichliste, stroke list. Okay, so I'm counting how many squares I have knit on each day, or if I didn't knit, I make this hyphen. Yeah, and then by the end, I have to read it backwards. Okay, my goal is 25. And yeah, I have reached that goal, 25 of 25 in January. And this is my main goal, to knit 175 squares within 7 months. So when I reach this goal, the blanket is done. Okay, so that's how I keep track. January was so good. And now I show you February. But I only knit 5 squares this month in February because I have an excuse. I had to knit my design for the self-care cowl, and the mystery knit along for the self-care cowl. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will link it in the description box below. It starts on Ash Wednesday, so in 4 days. I had to finish this test knit, so there was not much time for blanket knitting. Yeah. So now I will take them. Here's already March. I will take the 20 squares that are left into the next month and add the 25. I know I won't. I don't know. I assume that I won't be able to knit 45 squares in a month. But I have to keep the, what is it? When you got money from someone and you want to pay it back, is it debt? So I think I have to, I want to take the depth with me every month. So maybe I will be able, for example, to knit 26 squares every month. So in So I lose my depth, so to say. I hope that made sense to you. Yeah, that's how I keep track. And I will be working out a routine very soon. Today is Sunday. It's the best day to prepare your life in general. Because when Lent starts, I want to get back into good habits. And I want to pray more, and I want to make my lecture readings and so on. And it's always helpful for that to build a routine around it. So for example, I could sit down in the morning and knit a square while I listen to my Bible lectures. I don't have to read them. I could listen to them, for example, in my app. The daily lectures from the Holy Mass. So I'm Catholic, and we have in the whole world, we all read the same lectures every day. Not every day the same, but at the same day in every country of the world, in every Catholic church, you have the same lecture. So that could be a possibility, that I say, I knit this square, drink my first cup of coffee, and listen to the gospel and the lectures. I really need to figure that out. I am always awake way earlier than I have to, so there is plenty of time. There is enough time for everything I would like to do. I only have to be organized, and that's what I'm working out today. And my other blanket, not schedule, I keep track just like this. I write down the day, or for February the month, and then I write down how many squares I have knit. That isn't necessary, but I really like to do these kind of things. Yeah. So this is my blanket notebook. I also have a chapter here about another blanket. I won't show you today because I didn't really work on it. And I show you, where is it? It's the Battenberg blanket. Here I have the Battenberg blanket. You see when I have started it, you see how many squares I have crocheted and when I did this. But as you can see, I neglected it very badly. But that is no problem. That is okay. Knitting should be our happy time. And we shouldn't put pressure onto us, because there is already enough pressure in the world. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So now let's go to the blankets itself, or themselves. My progress since we last spoke. Just to remind you, or for those of you who are new, I am knitting a memories blanket in different color blocks, 5 by 5. Frame these color blocks with white, and then I attach them to each other. So this is for a brown block, and here is a pink and rose block. And I finished the blue block. I showed you already last time. And I knit the 5 squares here on that side. So that means this one, where you see the marker, this one, this one, this one, and this glittery one. Can you see that? Oh, this is so amazing. I have received this from, I'm pretty sure I received this from Lacey from A Knitter's Haven. Is it called A Knitter's Haven? But there is another word before. I will put it on the screen. She makes lovely bags, and we swapped minis a few years ago. So advent calendar. Yeah. And I think I have this from her. It's maybe Lion brand. It was a mini like this one. It looked like this one, but a little bit smaller. So that is finished, that block. And now it needs a white frame, but I will do it later in the year. I don't know when. At the moment I enjoy the squares so much. So I will frame it like this. I explained why the frames are different in width in the last Blankettalk video. If you want to know why I do that, you can go back and watch it. I explain that in detail. So I knit these 5. And I started, so because the last Blanket Talk video was by the end of January, the January wasn't over, so I had still time to finish my January block. And I started now in February, my February block, and this is in the color green. I will show you a close-up. This looks very Christmassy to me. Oh, and here you can see it hasn't a purpose. I just like to have knitting jewelry on my knitting lately. It just cheers me up. And this one is the Deathly Hollows. I try to focus it. And this is from 3 by the Sea Designs. Go check them out. They are amazing. And they could, they need your support, but I think they would be very glad if you supported them, because Kim, one of the 3 from the 3 by the Sea Designs, was in the hospital, and that delayed her shop update for the spring collection. I'm already very curious about the spring collection. I will definitely buy their collection, parts of their collection, and I think we could cheer her up if we placed orders in their shop. You won't regret it. The quality is very good, and the charms are just, they are making me so happy. And this is Harry Potter. Yeah, but here's the square, and here is a square. That is my progress of that blanket. I really like that. I really like that. And I have already made 6 blocks and have connected them to each other. And if you want to see this blanket, watch the January video, because I showed that in detail. Now we come to my next blanket project I have worked on. And I don't know, I think at the moment I enjoyed this the most, because, let me tell you, I started this blanket in 2016. Oh, I have that is truly a memories blanket. The first, maybe I can show you a photo of my very first block of that blanket. When I started that block, I intended to make a normal memories blanket like everyone, so just putting in the minis without framing or something. And I was still, I would say I was still a beginner knitter, not intermediate, I would say, but I was so confused how to add the squares to make the center decrease line up with all the squares. So it was crazy, the colors were crazy, the center line was going wild, and yeah, but I started that blanket during a very, very, very rough time in my life. Yeah, I won't go into details here, but I still see me sitting on the sofa in my empty flat. I had pretty much no money. I was applying for a studentship and didn't know if I would receive it, and if I get money, and how it will go on with me. And oh, it was a very exciting but rough time. And then I realized that I love every other people's blanket, but it wouldn't fit into my interior. So I started to frame them, the blocks with white. Okay, and I started this in 2016. And when I learned this, as I told you, the picking up wasn't very neat. I mean, I'm getting better. The way I pick up in this blanket creates these ridges you can see very well. But these are very tidy. In my first blocks, it doesn't look so nice on the backside. Why do I tell you that? This long story? Because I enjoyed this blanket so much because you can see it's so tidy with these kind of frames. I saw that on Ina Knits podcast, and the way I pick up now and the two different ways of picking up I show you in detail in my tutorial. I have a tutorial how I knit my memories blanket, okay? The way I pick up stitches now is so much neater. You see no ridge. It's completely flat here. Wait. And I only used opal yarns so far, and I asked you difficult to say this word. I asked you on Instagram what I should do. Stay with the decision only putting in opal yarns or putting in every kind of mini. And most of you were pro only opal. So that will make it a little difficult to make progress, but I think it's worth it. It's so much fun. And when I get my opal minis for the shop, I will go crazy with knitting this blanket. And maybe I find people who swap opal leftovers with me. And I have added, since we last spoke, this one. This brings us to the 3 by the Sea designs again, because, wait, this is Butterbeer. This was part of the Harry Potter collection, so I added this one. This is from Socks for Tommy. I knit my fiance a pair of socks in that colorway, and I knit this one. I knit a pair of socks for myself. You can see them on Instagram. I posted them yesterday. And I added this one. I only have the markers here because I wanted to be able to recognize the squares I wanted to show you. And this is also a leftover from socks. I knit 20 in December. One of my Christmas sock pairs. And this is so much fun. It is so pretty. Let me show you in its whole again. It's so pretty and so much fun. And I really love opal. And at the moment, I only have yarn in here I have used in projects. All you can see here is yarn from socks. So leftover from skeins I used for socks. Amazing, amazing. I really love that. It fits amazing. And the white, I'm sorry, is plain opal yarn in white. So skein. Ball, it's not a skein, it's a ball. That is that. Now I want to showcase you the blanket behind me, and I will change the setting now so I can spread it out for you. Now we come to the numbers. Okay, this blanket has 240 stitches. So I did cast on 240 stitches. I can tell you, you can just cast on and eyeball it. You don't have to count, in my opinion, because you can wing it in the end. It has to be a multiple by 3 in theory. But when you have four stitches left at the end and you need only 3, just skip 1 stitch and put the 3. So how it's called? It's not the cluster stitch. The 3 triples in British English and the 3 double stitches in 1 stitch. Okay. You just skip 1 stitch and it's not a problem. So don't count. Yeah, you can count if you say I want to have 400 and not by accident only cast on 300, for example. I used a 2.5mm hook. I used 1027 gram of yarn. So 1 kilogram. So 10 skeins or balls of sock yarn. To say it in other words, I used leftovers, as you can see. And this blanket measures roughly 180 by 130 centimeters. Sorry for the Americans, maybe I can put it in inches, and the Britons use inches as well, right? Yeah, I will put inches on the screen. I started this blanket in December 2015 when I started the Anna Knit a Blanket Along first. So I think I started the make along on New Year's Eve of 2015. Yeah, and I finished this blanket. So I started 2015 in December and I finished it in 2019 in March. But it's funny, on Ravelry you can see your updates. So I updated this blanket every now and then, and I saw that on March 16 of 2019, 40% of this blanket was done. 40. So after 4 years, 4.5. Now, 4.5 years. No, 3.5, sorry. 40% of the blanket was done. And then 2 weeks later, this blanket was done. I was at 100%. So it took me 4 years, but I didn't work on it every day or not even every month. I maybe haven't worked on it for 6 months in a row. So it's not very, it doesn't say much when I say it took me 4 years. I miss this project very, very much. And I would like to start another granny stripe blanket. I'm holding myself back at the moment. I think, don't take me too serious or don't take my words too serious here now. I am knitting these color blocks, as you know. And I have the idea, so I have planned out my color blocks already. I can insert a photo here. I already know which minis I need to finish this blanket. And I can see myself, for example, finishing a color when I know I won't have to make another green block. I put all my leftover greens aside and then I will start another granny stripe blanket and use the leftover of the leftover, you know? I think I have put aside the brown ones already because I think there won't be another brown block. And I'm not sure now, off the top of my head, if there will be another brown block. But you know what I mean? When I know there won't be another blue or green or whatever block and I still have green or blue or whatever minis, I will put them aside and I will start a granny stripe blanket. Oh, and maybe, as with this one, I want to make a cleaner looking granny stripe. Now I will show you. I have used a lot of open minis, but open minis from the advent calendar. I think they had 15 or 20 gram? No, 15 gram. The open minis from the Opal advent calendars, they don't produce anymore and they won't produce them in the future. I asked them, they won't do that. That's why I will be offering advent calendars with these. In the original Opal advent calendars they used 15 gram minis. And these open minis you can buy separately from them. They have 10 gram. So I used very, very many open minis because I think I had 3 calendars by Opal. 2 at the same time and then 1 in the year afterwards. And because it's self-striping, I will show you on this row. You don't have one row in one color. So here you have purple, purple, then it comes to blue, 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 green, green, yellow, orange, I would say red and pink. That is okay, but that gives this blanket a crazy look. And I would like to go for, I think, I would like to go for a blanket where one row is in one color. You know? That means weaving in ends. I didn't wove in any ends here, I think. Yeah, here is my last end. I haven't even woven in it yet after 3 years, and I still have the start end. And all the rest is magic knot. And I have washed this in the washing machine already, I think 2 times, because I heard people saying that their magic knots came undone. I don't know, maybe they did them wrong, or maybe these slicker yarns like merino yarns aren't so good for that. I have a few merino yarns here in this blanket, but most of it is sock yarn, so true sock yarn blanket, sock yarn like Opal or Regia. And I have to say, this makes this blanket very warm, because the sturdier yarns feel much warmer than the soft yarns, in my opinion. Maybe it's just in my head, I don't know. So that is that. Yeah, so this is a very good size. I take it with me in my bed when it's very cold during winter. I use this to cover myself, and I can cover myself completely. I'm 166 centimeters tall, and this is 180 centimeters, so it can cover myself completely when I watch TV or when I sleep on the sofa or when I read. This is the perfect blanket size for me. I don't really use lap blankets, so these smaller ones. When I make blankets, they have to be big. And this is so easy, and you can say mindless, but I don't really like the word. So it's a mindful make in that sense that I say you don't have to concentrate. You are just in this moment, and you are in the flow, you are mindful. I really love that, and it is so fast, and it is so perfect for leftovers, and it is easy. That was my first crochet project after primary school, or elementary school, as you say in the other countries. And for those of you who haven't crocheted this kind of blanket before, or maybe have never crocheted before, let me warn you. The cast on, that's quite easy. But then the first row after the cast on, when you have to do the double crochets into the little cast on stitch, it's a pain in the, But after that, you only crochet into these holes. You see that here. You only crochet into the holes. You not crochet into the stitch, not into the V's, into the legs of the stitch. So it's very easy and enjoyable. And now that I talk about it, I want to cast another one immediately, but I hold myself back. That was everything for Blanket Talk today. Please, please, please post your blankets on Instagram with the hashtag #AnnaNidaBlanketalong. If you don't have a public account, I won't see your blankets. You could tag me, so at Anna-Lena Nidda. Anna-Lena is my full name. I'm not only called Anna, I'm Anna-Lena. That is my first name. So Anna-Lena Nidda is my Instagram name. So I can see your blanket, but it will be difficult for me to keep up with the people. So I will only draw the winners from the hashtag, and you will only appear in the hashtag feed if you have a public account. So sorry for that. But I wanted to make it possible for everyone to participate. So, because I know many of my viewers aren't on Ravelry anymore. And I did Ravelry make-alongs and knit-alongs in the past quite often. So this time it's Instagram. Yeah. And if you don't want to have Instagram on your phone, Instagram finally made it possible to post a photo, not a story, but a photo from your PC. So you can get to Instagram, you need an account, but you can do it from your PC. If you say, I don't want to have another app and so on, you can post from there. Yeah, that was everything for today. Let me just say, I hope you are feeling well. If you feel stress is coming up or anxiety-like feelings because of the world's politics at the moment, just, my way to deal with it, I can tell you what I do. I pray and I do the things I love. I think that is the only thing we could do. And yeah, we need to do that. Let's be loving to each other. Let's be supportive to each other. Let's cheer each other up. That is the thing I really like about our hashtag, Ananida Blankettalk, because watching the news and so on can cause a lot of bad feelings and you can't change the situation. So maybe focus on the good things in life. And yeah, let's talk about knitting and crocheting and cheer each other up in these difficult and hard times, and pray for Ukraine. They need it. And pray for the Russian people because they need it as well. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to see you next time. It will be the tag video, and then the next time after the tag video I will publish a podcast episode, a regular podcast episode again. Okay, happy knitting. Do what you love, what makes you happy, and I'm looking forward to your comments. Bye bye.